In the meantime, the Federal Energy Minister and Emissions Reductions Minister is Angus Taylor. Now, we had a chance to talk to him a bit earlier today because, well, yet again, there are people who are trying to pretend that Australia's doing nothing, not doing enough when it comes to climate change. There's even activist polling that's around at the moment that claims that in so-called rich Liberal electorates, they care more about climate change than COVID. OK, probably not at the moment if they're locked down in Sydney or Melbourne. But I thought it was a chance to talk to the bloke in charge about what Australia is actually doing on climate change.
Look, the usual suspects line up and they'll talk down Australia on every front, Paul. They'll talk us down on emissions, on how we're responding to the virus, on everything. They don't seem to love our country the way so many other Australians do. But if you look at our emissions performance, it's outstanding. I mean, we're 20% down on our 2005 levels, which is the baseline year for the Paris Agreement. We're ahead of so many other countries, Japan, the United States, the New Zealanders, the Canadians, whose emissions have barely budged, the OECD average, the G20 average. And look, in the same time as our emissions have come down 20%, Paul, you've seen Chinese emissions increase by 200% over the last 2 decades. They've gone from 13% of global emissions up to 28% of global emissions. They're approaching a third of global emissions. So, you know, these people should focus on where the emissions problems and challenges are. We're getting on with the job. We're doing it in a sensible way, which is technology, not taxes. It's practical initiatives. Australians know they're seeing the solar cells going up on their roofs or their neighbours' roofs. These are the things where Australia's leading the world. And that's the practical way where Australians just get things done.
Well, that's what I said when those clowns were burning, doing great things for the environment, of course, by burning prams out the front of Parliament and writing whatever they could all over the lodge. They were in the wrong building. They should have kept going over the hill and go to the Chinese embassy because, as the IPA said, 16 days they wipe out everything we do in a year, and they've got 9 more years to keep ramping up their pollution before that's what even is the target that they have to start cutting back from between 30 and 50. That's the truth.
That's the truth. We're just over 1% of global emissions and our emissions are falling. They are 28% of emissions as of 2019 and rising. So, Paul, look, you know, people can spend a lot of time talking this great country down. I'm not one of them. I think we get out there, we get things done, and we do it in a practical, sensible way. And the important thing is to do it without destroying our economy, destroying jobs, destroying our great regional centres, our great energy hubs, like whether it's the Hunter Valley or Gladstone or the Pilbara or Whyalla. These are great Australian regional centres. They are leading global energy hubs, and we're going to continue to nurture them and make sure they succeed into the future.
Bloody oath, that's absolutely the case. I've been to many of those places with our town, which we celebrate each and every month here on Paul Murray Live. Now, before you go, that process of technology over taxes, there's another tranche in that's happening right now about trying to open greater consultation, put simply, greater working relationships with private companies. Give me an idea about what that actually means to normal people.
Well, if you're a big industry, or you're a big company working in the steel sector or in fertiliser manufacturing, or you're a major meat processor, you've got significant energy use, significant emissions, and we're working with them to help them to improve their energy efficiency and bring down their emissions at the same time. And that's using carrot, not stick. The Labor Party have always wanted to use stick. They've always wanted to tax these companies. We want to use carrot and make sure there's an incentive for them to go and find those energy efficiencies. Look, that's been working. It's been a very big contributor to our success in the last decade or so, and it will continue to be. And so our approach is to continue down that path, and that's exactly what we've announced. We're doing some consultation now with industry on how we best make sure that continues to happen. But that is our focus, Paul, and that means more jobs, not less. It means strengthened industry, not weakened industry, and it means stronger regions, not weaker regions, where much of this activity takes place.
Bloody oath. Good to talk to Angus Taylor.